All right, hello, everybody. I'd like to say hello again. My name is Suni, and I am back tonight with a new topic. And the topic that I have tonight is the meeting room or the group, the NA group or the AA group, or for that matter, any 12-step meeting that you attend is called a group. And a lot of them have meeting lists. Well, I say mostly all of them. I never seen one without a meeting list. They'll have a meeting list and they'll have the group's name, the name of the group. Uh, some of them have the type of the group, what type of group it is. Is it it could be gay or lesbian, um, or it could just be like a group. It'll tell if it's a smoking group or a non-smoking group, if it's a speaker group, if it's and these are the various formats that the groups have. And so once inside the group, it tells what time the group meet, the days that the group meet, and so forth. And then, of course, there's the group uh, where the meeting takes place. It could be in a church, it could be in a mosque, it could be in a civic building, some type of a recreation center. Um, it could be in a, inside of a Jewish place of worship. So a meeting could take place anywhere uh, where there's an agreement between that group and the place that's hosting the meeting for simplicity. So, so you have the meeting place, then you have the group, and it's like I said, and it's like I just explained, and it'll be the time, what time that group meets, also the name of the group, like Birds of a Feather, Friday Night Live, uh, Sunday Morning Surrender, uh, Keys to Recovery, um, the 12th Street Group. So the groups, they'll have their own name, and each group have what is called trusted servants. And inside the trusted servants, you'll have a group service representative, you have a chairperson, you have a secretary, and you can have a treasurer. And in some groups, they'll have a coffee maker, person that's responsible for making the coffee. And you'll have a person that's responsible for the literature. Now, the literature person could be, and I'll just say in some groups, they'll have it where certain positions are combined. Excuse me. The coffee maker could be the chairperson. The chairperson could be the coffee maker and the chairperson, the person that leads the group. The secretary could be the person that puts the literature out and selects speakers or help conduct activities for the group. The treasurer is the person that, of course, keeps track of what's called the seventh tradition or any type of money or funds that's coming into the group. They would keep track. Also responsible for maybe purchasing literature, the group's literature, and also responsible for paying the rent, making sure the bills get paid. When there are certain activities, they might be the one that might go out purchase food, coffee. A lot of the financial transactions could come through, yes, the treasurer. And then you have what's called group members slash home group members. Now, inside of a group, so let's say you might have a group and their name might be uh, the the paycheck meeting, and they might meet every Friday at 7 p.m. And with the paycheck meeting, what'll happen is that group would meet, and they would have like what's called home group members. And your home group members are the people that will make this meeting regularly. They've adopted as a home group. They'll meet regularly, and there might be just regular members and also the officers that I just mentioned. And so along with and they'll have their name on a ledger, their name and their phone number on the ledger, and they meet at that meeting regularly. So they signed up, for example, at this group. Now also you have regular members meeting might attend that home group, but they don't have to be attached to that home group, but they'll just meet. And then of course, if you got regular members coming down to that meeting and supporting that meeting, then that's where you'll find what? Your new old timers, new timers, and in between timers. That's what usually happens in the meeting. Now, the meetings could be structured any type of way. I mean, in some areas, they'll have tables. They'll have tables set up. You might find 6, 7 tables, and at each table, they'll have a different topic. They'll have it like a topic group meeting, and you might have the first step at one table, the second step at another table, just for the day at another table or whatever. Then you have what's called circle meetings. That's when everybody sits in a circle, and then they'll have like just that one topic, and it'll be that topic for that meeting. Yeah. So you have what's called tables, and then you have what's called circles. So and that would depend on the area where you at. Like for example, in Detroit has a lot of tables. They're majority tables. If you go to meetings in Detroit, Michigan, you most likely going to go to a meeting where you'll go wherever that meeting is, at a church or wherever, and they'll have different tables and they'll have different topics at each table. Here in Indianapolis, where I am, if you go to a meeting, they have circles. And it's also basically the same way with NA and AA, and I've been to a few other the other A's, and it's basically been the same. They'll study out their own literature. They can have like topic meetings where they talk about different types of topics, or step meetings, or speaker meeting. A speaker meeting is just where you might have a speaker. A person come down and they'll share on the topic or speak on the topic, whatever the topic that it is for that particular night. So that's how that goes. Now, inside the meetings is each group might have their own set of rules. You might have like a non-smoking meeting. You might have like a only literature meeting. Only let's say a big book meeting only, or a basic tech meeting only, or where they just talk about out of the big book or the basic text. And then you might have some that have mixture. But I want to take a second to stop and talk about meetings, and get into the mechanics of the meetings before I get into other things like traditions and so forth, and what governs meetings other than the rules that the meetings make up. So meetings are for the person that has an addiction, regardless to what it is. Gambling, you got gambling anonymous, you have gambling anonymous meetings, you have sex anonymous meetings, you have Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. So the gamut, so it goes, on and on and on. Now, meetings were established and are established so that the addicted or the alcoholic can have a place to meet. That's how they're established. That's why we have meetings. And it takes two people or two persons to have a meeting. Two people or two persons. Now, when there's a meeting, there's guidelines and there's rules because there has to be an environment for recovery. And I know it's other words for it, but I'm just saying, inside the recovery process and inside our meetings, that's where the dynamic of recovery takes place. The dynamic of recovery. And inside the environment of recovery, a lot of things can be said about it, but most of all, order has to be maintained inside the environment or the atmosphere of recovery. It has to be, for example, you can't have no chaos and confusion going on. Now, that's not to say it don't happen, but it does. However, in order to experience the recovery process in a group or at a meeting level, there has to be order, must be. And in some places call it the atmosphere of recovery. And I know in Narcotics Anonymous, it's called the atmosphere of recovery. And the atmosphere of recovery is simply a place where people could feel comfortable coming down and sitting down and what we call sharing or talking about whatever the topic is or what's going on with them. Now understand this. Inside the atmosphere of recovery, not necessarily all the time is it going to be what the individual think. Sometimes people they're gonna be out of hand. A lot of things can happen inside of a meeting. When addicted people get together, understand a lot of people they're in the recovery process, but where they at in their in their process, it will plainly be seen. Oh yes, it will plainly be seen where an individual recovering person is. But however, we have these rooms and we have these meetings so that the individual recovering person can recover on what's called a group level. Understand that an alcoholic or an addict helping each other is about the best thing there is. One addict or one alcoholic helping each other. And in some groups it says an addict helping one another or an addict or alcoholic helping one another is unparalleled. That means that's where the best help comes. Not to say that they can't get no help in other places. That's where the best help comes. Why? Because we're able to understand. In other words, we can be more empathetic. And empathy is the healing process, is a part of the healing process that the recovering person go through. It's on the level of empathy. And like I shared in earlier videos, is that as we recover at the level of feelings and emotions from the addiction, which is obsessive and compulsive behavior and total self-centered. Empathy is a component of the recovery process. So we had to have a place which there is an environment for recovery, or what we call the atmosphere. It is said, and I truly believe, that the ultimate weapon for recovery is the recovering person. I've heard that for the 34 or some odd years I've been around, 34 years and 8 months, and I believe that till today. I mean, you can still go to church or to the mosque or to the synagogue or to the yoga center or to the meditation place or practice other philosophies. But however, the ultimate weapon and the best tool for recovery will be the recovering person. And that's because we as a group understands the individual, and I say as a group, we understand the individual recovering person. We know what you've been through, and we could best help you or help the individual. So that being said about the groups, what a meeting is, what a group is, and that how there are certain rules or regulations that a group can come up with to maintain the atmosphere / environment for recovery. Part of that is what is called the traditions. And the first group to ever have traditions or where they were developed were Alcoholics Anonymous. And then Narcotics Anonymous adopted those same traditions word for word, verbatim. Why? Because they were proven. They were already proven to work in the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. So when I start talking about the traditions, I'm talking something that was adopted from said fellowship, Alcoholics Anonymous, and also from Narcotics Anonymous. And be advised. But also understand that other recovery groups have adopted, if not these same traditions, portions of the traditions. So the first tradition states this. And it's tradition 1 of the 12 traditions. It says, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity or AA unity. So I'm just reading it from an AA board, from NA board, but understand they were adapted from AA. And so what that's basically saying, it's telling our whole fellowship, the whole fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, because of the word our. It says, our common welfare should come first. And it says no matter what we do, how we structure our groups, no matter how many conventions we have, no matter what type of activity we have, no matter big, small, medium, or large, it says our common welfare should come first. And what is our common welfare? Our common welfare is very simple. Recovery from alcoholism and addiction. And whatever our addiction is. And it's more than the primary symptom. I'll say that. It's more than just alcohol. It's more than just drugs. It's more than just sex. It's more than just shopping. It's more than just overeating. It's more than just being addicted to drama. and it's somebody else's business, because these are only symptoms of a bigger problem. So it says personal recovery depends on NA/AA unity. So therefore, what's going to unify us is, number one, our traditions. Number two, any rules or guidelines that are made up but based on the traditions. So the traditions of AA, of NA, are at the center, or should be. And that's why that word is should, because sometimes, I'm just going to tell you plain and simple, they won't be. They won't be. There's going to be some times you're going to walk into a situation and you're going to say, where'd they get that from? But anyway, I'm not going to get off into that. So it says personal recovery depends on NA unity. And where do we get personal recovery from? We get personal recovery from the 12 steps. That's where personal recovery, the ultimate recovery, or the ultimate experience for personal recovery, will always be through the 12 steps. Now, I'm not saying there's some other stuff going on where you may not be able to not get it, but the steps, and it's telling you, personal recovery. So as I continue to recover and maintain the recovery process, then I am far better to comprehend and adapt traditions. I didn't make that up. That's in tradition 1. Tradition 2, it says, for our group purpose, there's but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. And as I turn away from the mic, I'm reading them off the traditions over here I got. So anyway, maybe I should just set them over here a little bit. I set them over there a little bit. That'll kind of cause me not to, really turn my face. So the second tradition states, for our group purpose, there's but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. Now, so let's start there. It says, for our group purpose, there's but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. That's one complete sentence. Now, let me say this. All I got is a GED. I'm 66 years old with a GED. I got some other stuff going on, but I'm just letting y'all know, where I'm at. And I ain't got no business, no recovery business. I ain't got none of that. I'm just the everyday Joe, as my man called it, out of Chi-Town. I'm just the everyday Joe in the recovery thing. So anyway, it said, so what they're saying, it says, for our group purpose, there's but one ultimate authority, a loving God. Now, this thing is not, when it talks about a God, it's not talking about a God from any particular religion or any particular dogma. I ain't talking about nothing from the Muslim faith or the Christian faith or the Jewish faith or the Baha'i faith or any other type of faith. That's right. The only God is talking about something that came early in the program, around step 3. And it said, this God can be loving and caring and greater than yourself. And that's for simplicity. Yeah. And not all this other stuff. And I don't mean, when I say other stuff, I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I'm going to tell you what. I got a religion myself. That's right. I'm a religious person. But I know that this tradition is not talking about the dogma or the dogmatic views that I might have concerning the religion that I belong to, because our program is not built and based on a religion. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I said this is from my perspective, right? It's not. It's not. You ain't got to be and I'm gonna say this. Yeah, I've been in some areas where they actually put the religion down your throat. If you didn't believe a certain way, and they'll tell you, well, I'm sorry, you know. So I'm gonna say this. It's not that. Just because it says God, only thing it's referring to is to let the group know, we're referring to something that's higher than the group on a spiritual basis. That's it. So the agnostic and the atheist can feel at home, which they ought to. Because let me say this, right? And I'm going to say this as many times as I have to. When the average alcoholic or addict came into the fellowship, and when I say addict, I mean sex and all that, I don't care if you was going to church every Sunday, your God was your major symptom. That's who your God was. Your God was food. Your God was sex. Your God was drug, including that weed you was smoking. Yeah, that's who your God was. That's what you worshiped. You worshiped in behavior. Then people get clean. They get some clean time up under their belt, do a few steps. Then they turn into holy rollers. Then they want to talk about other members in the fellowship because they not looking at it the way they think. They turn into self-righteous. So anyway, if you didn't hang up on me and you still here, I'm gonna move on with this. It says a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Now, expressing itself in the group conscience, everybody know that been around that a group conscience is a vote. Is a vote. However, when we vote on something, that's not the group, that's a part of the group conscience. Voting is only a part of the group conscience. It's not the complete group conscience. What's the complete group conscience is after we had a vote, after we put the vote in action, and then it's the outcome. So it's the before, during, and after actions report. Very plain and simple. A lot of people think that group conscience is just a vote. It's not. Why? Because we can rig the vote. That's right. That's right. And I've seen it done plenty of times. In the area that I'm in now, in any other area, people get together, they get their little crew and clique together, and they say, we're going to go to area, or we're going to go to the home group business meeting, and we're going to vote like this and have it done like this. And okay, you have it done like that, and you might vote like that, but then you have to look at how it comes out. And it might come out the way you want to. But that doesn't mean that's the exact group conscience, especially if it was a dishonest vote. So I'm going to leave that like that is. And it says, our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Right. Trusted servants. You're a servant. Whether you the chair of the area, literature chair, chair of the meeting, the secretary, you're a trusted servant. You ain't governing nothing. But however, at the end, that's what's going to happen. So we're going to run into situations where we're going to see personalities that will actually take over a meeting. But fear not, at the end of the day, the ultimate authority is going to let you know that the ultimate authority is the ultimate authority. That's right. Remember, spiritual principles are never in conflict, and each tradition wields a spiritual principle. So let's move on. Tradition number 3. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using, and then in the Alcoholics Anonymous version is drinking. That's your only requirement. Only requirement. You ain't got to have no job. You ain't even got to be clean or sober. All you have to have is a desire. You can go in there and drunk and say, hey, look, I just want to be sober, but I want to be a member. I got a desire. Yeah, and that's how that starts. 4, each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. And so what this particular tradition is saying is that autonomous. So each group is autonomous. That means each group has the freedom to run their meetings the way they want to run it. However, as long as it doesn't affect other groups or NA as a whole. Now, that right there, a lot can be said. But simplicity, I would say this. No matter what your meeting is, you should have no alcoholic or no addict should ever be turned away. Yep. I say that. The next thing I would say is that no matter what your meeting format is, it should be, people should be allowed to share if it's a sharing meeting. And we should, and that being said, when the other traditions or the ones that I've already spoke on have kicked in, have not kicked in, I'm sorry. When they're in effect, then the third traditions, it will stand the way it stands. Next one. Tradition 5. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry the message to the addict or alcoholic who still suffers. And that's our primary purpose. And sure, we're going to get involved in some baseball teams, some card games, some bowling, and I done seen them all the way down to van clubs. Dinner, wearing white and stuff like that night, and all this other type of stuff. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But if money was our primary purpose, we'd have a lot of arguments and there'd be a lot of disruption of meetings going on. But we have to understand that each group, the primary purpose of each group, man, is to carry the message that this program worked. The 12 steps work. Meetings work. Meetings make or make it. All that type of stuff. It says, and to the addict who still suffers. And understand this, old timers suffer too. Because a person got 20 years don't mean that they ain't suffering. Because a person got 30 years don't mean that they ain't suffering. Just like a person in the treatment center is suffering. That addict that can't get out their house or out their bed. That's right. We got people that can't get out the bed. And they've been around and they suffering. We still carry the message to them. Right? Am I right or wrong? Sure, I'm right. It says in tradition 6, an NA group are never endorse, finance, lend the NA or AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise. These problems of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. And I already talked about what our primary purpose is. Our primary purpose is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. But it says the NA group are never endorsed. So early on, in the one tradition, we talked about a group's anonymity. And inside their anonymity, they have certain they could do it's certain things they could do. They have leeway to do certain things. You know, they can have bowling clubs, they can have card clubs, they can have van clubs. They can, but raising money for elections and raising monies for a church or a mosque or building fund or anything like that. No, we don't do that. We don't endorse presidential candidates. You know, I don't even want to talk about that. We don't endorse presidential candidates. We don't endorse different companies, you know, to get grant money and that type of stuff. No, that's not our primary purpose. We don't finance or lend. You know, none of us had a right to say to take the NA name, the NA logo, and put it on nobody's pulpit, nobody's business. A NA group don't have that right, and we ain't supposed to be doing that. 7, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. And all that tradition is saying is we pay our rent wherever we go. And if we ain't got no money to pay no rent, is what can we do? Can we build a barn, paint a wall, sell some candy? But we gonna pay our way through. We pay our way through. That's right. We pay our way through. I remember one time, man, we had a meeting. The meeting was so broke, we would just give literature. We would give them literature. It was like this one treatment center we had in Hamtramck back in the day, Hamtramck, Michigan. We paid them with literature. We ain't had no money, so we paid them with literature. Tradition 8. It says Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. And what it says is that we're not a professional, none of our groups are professional agencies. We're not experts in the area of recovery and alcoholism. Our groups are not that. No. You know, if we need some professionals to come in, we hire them or we ask them to come in and provide a service, like our convention. You know, if we need some people in at certain conventions, if we need certain people to come in and do certain things, we hire them. Accounts to keep account, accounts to keep account on the accounts that we do. Yeah, man. That's how that go. To run hotels for us. That's how that go. It says NA or AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. So what they're saying, NA as such, and what does as such mean? Very, very simple. As such, as we are right now. Not as we was in 1980 or 2000 or 54. It's how we are right now, as such, and everything about us. So we may not be It say ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees. So if we need something done, so let's say we need I was looking at my basement, right? So we need some people to come down. Let's say my basement is a meeting place. And we want to fix it up. Then we create a board or a committee to see what it takes to fix this thing up. how much it's gonna cost, and then we take that to our treasurer people or back to the board, and then they'll go out there and they'll do the hiring. That's what that basically means. But remember what as such means. It means as we are right now. It says Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. It's telling us straight out, if it ain't involved what's going on in the fellowship, we ain't got no opinion on that as a whole. It says Narcotics Anonymous. It didn't say the group. It says or Alcoholics Anonymous or Sex Anonymous. It says the whole blanket. This is a blanket statement. Not a group statement. It's a blanket. You know what blanket? Mean everybody. Mean lottie-dottie and everybody. That's what that means. And it says, has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the NA or AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Very simple. We don't take the name of our fellowships and go down and try to apply them to any type of political activity, any type of religious activity, any type of other recovery type activity, like a treatment center, like stuff like that. Moving on. Tradition 11. Our public relations policy is based on traction rather than promotion. It says our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. What is that saying? It says when we're out in the public, okay, number one is individuals. I do not represent any 12-step program. I don't. Now, I might wear a trinket, have a shirt, a jacket, have it on my car, but me as an individual, I don't do that. That's just too much for me to represent, really. Because if somebody think I represent any one of these 12-step fellowships and I fall short, guess who gets the blame? The fellowship. The fellowship. That's who get the blame. Because they think I'm representing the 12-step fellowship. Then it says, we need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And that's basically what that's saying. Now, attraction is this. This is attraction. I got a shirt on, or my behavior is very much up to par. And people say, hey, do you represent that fellowship? I said, I don't represent the fellowship. I might be in it, but I don't represent it. If you want to find out something about the fellowship, they have some community people that you can go talk to. But yeah, I got the shirt. I might make a meeting or two. But bottom line, thanks for giving me a pat on the head, because I need that. Said 9. Step 12. Tradition 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. And that's a hard do. It says anonymity is a spiritual foundation. And sometimes that has been interpreted as there's no big I's and no little U's. In other words, your title is left at the door, no matter what. You could be the president. You come to one of our meetings, sorry, you ain't the president no more. You're an alcoholic or a recovering person. That's what you is. That's what you is. You ain't all that. And some of us wants to be all that. Yeah. We want to be the big I. But there's no big I's and there's no little U's in the 12-step process. And when it says anonymity, what you do is this. You take anonymity, which means to bear no name, and you could take this tradition right here and run it alongside of each tradition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You could take that tradition and set it aside, each tradition, and I guarantee you between that 12 tradition and any other tradition that you set it beside, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. Where it says our leaders are but trust and service, they do not govern. That's anonymity in full effect. Our common welfare should come first. Our common welfare. What is our common welfare? It is recovery from the disease of addiction or alcoholism. That's anonymity. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using. That's definitely anonymity. You ain't got to be the governor, the general, the president. You could be a person up under the bridge is just as equal as the governor. I know Pence ain't gonna like that though. I said that, but it's the truth. That's according to the tradition. And some of us tend to break that tradition because we think we the shizzle. And you look at tradition 4. Each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or NA or AA or NA as a whole. And it says what? Each group should be autonomous. Take that word anonymity and put it right beside autonomous. That makes that 4th tradition more firmer than it is. It adds some more backbone to it, some more base to it. Right. So inside our meetings, and inside our groups, and when I say meetings too, because you got what? Area service meetings. You got literature meetings. You got different other meetings. And these traditions apply the same way they do to a group. And then you have certain organizations have concepts, so forth and so forth and so forth. But understand this. If it's not consistent with the traditions, believe me, it's not. It's something that's made up, really. Anything. If you, for example, and they got the concepts. They got the 12 concepts. The 12 concepts should be run parallel to the 12 traditions. They should. Why? Because when you look at the 12 and 12 of Alcoholics Anonymous, when you look at the 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous as they are in the basic text, you will see that they have spiritual principles. And what I said about spiritual principles earlier in other videos is that spiritual principles are never in conflict. So when you have, for example, the traditions and the concepts, which has their own spiritual principles, they should run parallel, like water. Right. So wrapping this thing up, you have the 12-step meetings and the 12-step groups. And what will regulate them is the 12 traditions. That's what regulate the groups. So, this is just my perspective. And like I said, I don't represent any organization. I don't represent, this is just, me putting what I learned over the years out, and if you like it, Or if you don't like it, give me a comment. If you like it, give me a comment. And by all means, subscribe, because I'm gonna be doing as many videos as I possibly can in the recovery area. Why? Is because I'm going somewhere, and I'm gonna put this out. the The main reason why I'm doing this is because one of them is because we keep what we have by giving it away. So I'm trying to give everything that I think I got away. How about that? But also, I'm trying to go to another level in my recovery. So that means I got to empty this cup. And let me say this too. I'm also open for criticism, and I'm also open for correction. Thank you. You know. So moving on, with the topic, AANA 12-step program, the meeting in the group. My perspective from Suni Sami, and that's it. And if you take my name and if you put it in the search engine at YouTube, all my videos will pop up. I think I got about 11 or 12 of them. So, So, yes, I am going somewhere with this, and where I'm going is to demonstrate to talk about my personal experience inside the 12-step process. And when I say where I'm going, this is where I'm going. I have come across, my ascension process within the as a result of the 12 steps. Like it says in step 12, I'm experiencing a lot of other stuff. And so my cleansing process is a little bit more intense. I'm cleansing my spirit, my emotions, my feelings, and even myself physically, because I'm still in the ascension process. You know, there's certain other things I have going on. You know, but I'll talk about that in the later videos. I got some other videos coming up, and my allergies is bothering me. That's why I'm picking my nose. Plus my hair, I probably need to trim that hair. So anyway, wrapping this thing up, about 12-step meetings, the environment, 12-step meetings, the atmosphere of recovery, and the environment. The ultimate weapon for recovery is or for the alcoholic is another alcoholic or another addict, two or more. Now I want to talk about this very shortly. I want to spend a little time on this because I've talked to certain people. I've talked to people that actually went into meetings, and I ain't getting nothing out the meetings. I ain't never going back there. I don't know what the hell they be talking about. People call us cults and all this other things, And I ain't gonna say that's fine. I'll say that's a misunderstanding. I'll say that's misunderstanding. You know, we do have our own language. Inside the atmosphere of recovery, it may not be what a person think. You hear people talking about like what's going on with them, what's happening in their lives. They might be telling their little secrets and that. But here's the deal. What we found out as a group, man, ain't nobody got no secrets. We know what the hell you done. We know all about you. And I say we. I don't say as an individual. When you step in our meetings, man, we know about you. We know what you done. We know what type of personality you is. Yeah, as a whole. I'm saying as a whole. I'm not saying as an individual. So a lot of times people, they could be intimidated by what they hear and don't want to come back, and that's fine. That's your freedom. Practice it. But I'm going to say this. When you talk about one of us, you ain't doing nothing but talking about yourself. Probably in most cases, what happened, you done walked in and seen all them mirrors and got scared and ran out. I'm just keeping it real with you. Because this is why. In the recovery process, we dealing with spiritual principles. We on a spiritual level. We dealing with light, raw. That's what we deal with. And I'm saying, when I say we, I mean as a group. And I'm going to say that, no, I don't like everybody in recovery. Everybody in recovery don't like me, fine. But as a group, I'm sorry. We come together, we effective. Yeah, very effective as a group. You know. So when you come down there and you hear people sharing, you hear what they talking about, you might see a drug deal. You might see somebody drunk. But then again, if you stick around long enough, you're going to see some other side. You're going to see some millionaires. You're going to see people getting money. They're getting money, however they're getting it too. But you're going to see some people doing some bigger and some better things down, in our rooms, in the atmosphere of recovery. And inside the atmosphere of recovery, it's a sacred place because you're looking at people that's been broken down. They've been broken down. What the hell you expect? If you want to see some already, there's other places you can go on Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. But when you come to a meeting dealing with alcoholics, sex, any type of addict, you're dealing with some broken people that's putting themselves together slowly. I have to add that. So you might be hearing a person in their brokenness. But like we say, they slowly coming together. That's what happens in our rooms. That's why so many people come near. And we got people, they making millions of dollars, hundreds and thousands of dollars. We got people that's been elected to civic government posts. They ain't telling nobody. In all fellowships, So, don't judge. There's a saying, those who don't judge matter, and those who don't judge matters. Those who do judge, man, they don't matter. So, in closing, what I'm going to say about the 12 steps is this. If you want to get to any other modality, this is not my opinion, this is what I've seen. Number one, I consider the 12-step process as a modality of healing. Because we heal people. I mean, look at me. People would never thought I would be anything, and they probably still don't, I'm cool with that. But this is the main ingredient to any other type of healing modality that you wouldn't ever want to get into if you do the steps. Because we're thorough as a fellowship, AA, NA. That's why I don't have no NA argument which one is better, NA, AA, CA, FA, GA. Because I already know what's up. We dealing with spiritual principles in the RAW, raw, G. Man, So anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I'll be putting another video out probably by Friday night. And then I'll be moving on. I covered steps. I covered traditions. I covered meetings. I covered the individual addicts as per my perspective. I talked about the recovering process as a healing modality, and that's where I'm going next with it. That's why I'm going next with it. We more than just people that drank and do dope. Sorry about that. When you get with one of us, we know how to take it to the exact nature of a situation as a whole. As a whole. Reiki, Kundalini, chakras, whatever you want to do. Why? Because our program told us. This is what the program told us. It says, practice us in all your affairs, all of your affairs, all of them. This program can help you with anything you want to do. All you need is 3 elements: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, and you're on your damn way. So I'm coming out. I'm gonna lay my goal is to lay this modality out, and I'm gonna call it just like it is. Like I said, I ain't got that argument on which one is best. Spiritual principles are never in conflict, and ain't none of us on this earth created, made no spiritual principles, and that's from the atheist to the agnostic to all these super high other spiritual beings that might be roaming around here. But I tell you this, and I'm gonna say this: you catch a hold of one of us on our good day, we'll give you a run for your money, because we laying it down. I'm speaking up for my recovery people in all fellowships. That's right. That's why I'm doing these videos. You know, it's time to take the recovery process to another level. You know, thanks to our granddaddy. That's right, AA, I'ma say it. Our granddaddy. That's the granddaddy. That's right. I done got chills on. I done got chills. So recovery is a day at a time. It's not an event. It's a day at a time. We recover through spiritual principles, and we're defeating what? Symptoms. Through spiritual principles. We're purifying ourselves spiritually. Can anybody else say that? Where they at? I ain't talking about that church stuff. I ain't talking about that Islamic stuff, that Mason stuff, that spooky stuff. I'm talking about some straight down to earth, no chaser. Right. So anyway, I've been on for an hour already. I don't like to stay that long. It's been nice. I'll be coming back with the 12 steps, a healing modality. And I'm going to show you what step do that, because we get to the exact nature around here. It ain't no guessing games. We don't guess. We say, what character defects, shortcomings you working with? What patterns, what cycles you caught up in? We could tell you. Men and women in recovery. Look at y'all got me lit up. All right, I'll talk with y'all later. Thanks for letting me share. Kumbaya. See you later. Ma shalom, ma salam alaikum. Bye. All right. Thank you. In my stream right there. Yeah.